Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. Okay. Breathe, breathe. Good afternoon, family and friends, and welcome to you all. Welcome to Fast Castle. Welcome to Fettercairn from wherever you've travelled. We have a fantastic mix of people here today. I believe groomsman Patty and his wife Rebecca have travelled all the way from Doha. Anything for a free drink, eh? So welcome to you all. Welcome to this fantastic place. Excuse me, if there's an occasional pause, it's because we're getting invaded by beasties. Welcome to this fantastic place where we've gathered to witness the marriage of these two wonderful people before me. So much in love and so right for each other. It's all about love. So welcome to Lois and Scott's wedding. My name is Neil Lynch from Humanist Society Scotland, and I am honoured to have been asked by the couple to conduct their wedding ceremony today, to celebrate one of life's greatest moments, the joining of two hearts. It's my job, and I love my job, to marry our bride and groom to each other and to celebrate their love, their life, their future together and why they're getting married. For today we've come together to witness the joining of these two lives. For them, out of the routine of an ordinary life, the extraordinary has happened. They met each other, they've fallen in love, and they're finalising it with their wedding today. Romance is fun for sure, but true love is something far more, and it is their desire to love each other for life is what we're celebrating today. But today is also a celebration for the rest of us, for it's a pleasure to see love in bloom and to participate in the union of two people who are so delightfully suited to one another. And today is also an opportunity for you to connect with people perhaps you haven't met before or you haven't seen for a while. You have a wonderful evening ahead of you, I've been assured of that. It's going to be a memorable time. There's going to be cake and lemonade, but no alcohol. This is a dry wedding. I'm only kidding, but that certainly got your attention, didn't it? Especially the Newcastle lot. Now, what we are celebrating today is not the beginning of a marriage, however. It's a marriage already in progress. This ceremony is a symbol of how far Lois and Scott have come together, and a symbol of the love and promises that they will continue to make to each other throughout their life. But this affirmation of love would be empty if we could not share it with their most beloved friends and family members. And without that love, today would be far less joyous. So thank you all for being here. So what's going to happen in this humanist wedding ceremony? Well, we'll speak about love, about marriage, commitments, a few words about humanism, and also a wee bit about where Lois and Scott met, how their relationship developed, their story. Now, if they're looking a bit anxious, it's not because of the wasps, it's because I've written this script without their input, without their knowledge. They have no idea what I'm going to be saying. So it's all going to be a wee bit of a surprise to them, and you as well, of course. But Lois did ask me not to share any embarrassing stories about her, so that's the ceremony cut in half right away. But first of all, may I introduce the bridal party? First of all, we have maid of honour Jenny and bridesmaids Angie and Rachel. Dear friends of Lois, she loves them like she loves her family. But as they're still under investigation by the police for their performance on the hen night, ladies, I think we'll just leave it there. Oh yes, I've seen the pictures and the CCTV. And Jenny, we must talk later about that incident in Ibiza. No wonder she's blushing. Which one? And then best man Andrew. Nice to see you managed to dress yourself today, Andrew.
Well done.
Now I know he's been feeling quite nervous about his speech that he's going to be giving this evening, but I'm pleased to say that last night he slept like a baby. He woke up every 2 hours crying his eyes out and asking for his bottle. Actually, he wasn't a particularly pretty baby. His mother had morning sickness after he was born. Did you know?
Job at roasting you than me.
Did you know that the custom of choosing a best man is of Scottish origin? Men used to kidnap their brides, and the friend of the groom who was the most helpful was judged to be the best man. Thankfully, things have changed, but the custom does remain. And we have groomsmen Patty and Bob. I actually saw them sneaking into hair and makeup earlier on. I didn't think it... I don't think it's made much difference, actually, has it? They're still ugly so-and-sos. And by the way, I was asked to mention if there are still any good-looking guys out there, single guys, beware. The bridesmaids, Jenny, Angie and Rachel, are all still single too, and they're on the hunt. And then we have the flower girls, Sienna, Orla, Olivia and Amy, all nieces. Aren't they just fabulous? They look like little princesses. And finally, page boys, Ethan and Christian, nephews both. They're looking after security today, so you better all behave yourselves at the reception later on. So this wedding is also a celebration of family. It's a blending of two families, separate up until this moment, but united from this day forward, blending their different traditions and strengthening the family tree. Lois and Scott, you decided on a humanist marriage ceremony because you feel that humanism's rational and caring philosophy reflects your belief in loving and respecting one another, your fellow humans and the world in which we live. And you also wanted to celebrate your commitment to each other in a personal and unique way. And your wedding ceremony is where your past and present come together to create your future. For you, it's a day to celebrate your marriage and mark the beginning of the rest of your lives together and enjoy this occasion with close family and friends together. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is intended to be relaxed and informal, just the way the couple wanted it, but also so that you can enjoy the experience and make it truly a day for Lois and Scott to remember for the rest of their lives. And it's already been a memorable one for Lois's dad, Charles, as he walked his daughter down the aisle. In many cultures, it's long been a tradition for brides to be given away by their fathers. And I do know that it will be a source of great pride and pleasure for Charles to have escorted his beautiful daughter on her wedding day. In reality, of course, there's no actual giving away because Lois and Scott have already given their hearts to one another. But at the same time, they would like to acknowledge the role that their families have played in their lives and to thank them for everything they've done for them. But their parents are here today not to relinquish any form of ownership, but simply to signify their public affirmation of Lois and Scott's choice to spend the rest of their lives together. Now, for those of you who are perhaps unfamiliar with humanist wedding ceremonies, the first thing we do here at Fast Castle is we get undressed and get naked. I'll start. I'm only kidding, of course. There was a couple of ladies down there actually started unbuttoning before I'd even finished the sentence. I'm only joking, of course. Seriously, for those of you who are not familiar with humanism, it is quite simply about respecting one another and the world in which we live. We're all Jock Tamson's bairns, as they say. We're all the same under the skin, aren't we? So when people ask me, what do humanists believe? This is what I say. Humanists believe we should behave towards each other as we'd like them to behave towards us. That there's more things in life there are more things in life that we can be guided by compassion and reason, and that there are more things that unite us than divide us. And the greatest of those things is love, which is obviously what has brought us all here today, the love between you both. Love, what a small word we use for an idea so immense and powerful. There's never a time or a place for true love, it happens accidentally. But whatever we believe, perhaps we can agree that marriage is about love. But that tiny word encompasses a host of meanings. Love is like war. It's easy to begin, but difficult to end. It happens accidentally, in a heartbeat, in a single flashing moment. And love is like the wind. You can't see it, but you can feel it. And I believe we can feel the love today, the love between Lois and Scott. So what is marriage, ladies and gentlemen? Why do we get marriage? Because marriage has meant many different things to different people. But for Lois personally, she's excited to see what their marriage brings. She told me that the most important thing in a marriage is unconditional love. Nobody's perfect, she said. Everyone has their flaws, and couples should learn to understand each other's flaws. She said, sometimes I wonder how he puts up with me, but then I remember I put up with him too. Maybe two imperfections do make a right. So as long as we support and communicate with each other and have time for each other, we can achieve anything, she said. And I also think we deserve a really big party with our friends and family. That's most important. And for Scott, marriage is about commitment and stability. But it's also sharing the same values and having trust in each other and respect for each other. It's creating a family, not just a dog, and building a loving home while growing old together, with love. So I asked the couple to tell me their story about where and when they'd met, how their relationship had developed, their hopes and dreams for the future. I must admit, when I first saw them together, I thought that Scott was punching way above his weight. Your mates are nodding in agreement here. And Lois said, well, I said to Lois, I said, don't try to be too charming, witty or intellectual.
It's Lois.
I beg your pardon. I said to Lois, don't try and be witty, charming or intellectual, just be yourself. But keep correcting me. And as part of my research, discovered I'm supposed to sing the bride's praises and tell you about her many good points. Well, I can't sing and I'm not going to lie, so we'll just leave that there. But this is their story in their own words. Lois and Scott first met at the Beach Ball Festival in Aberdeen on May Day weekend 2014, where Scott apparently tried to play it cool after meeting Lois and her friends. He wasn't very cool though, and he knew he had to act quickly, so spoke to her now bridesmaid, Rachel, to set them up. But she was taking too long, so he added her on Facebook and started chatting with her. And within 24 hours of meeting her, they'd arranged a date the following weekend, a drink and a meal. Not so Mr. Cool after all, eh?
No.
But he must have liked something though, because after their first date, you could count on one hand how many times he stayed at his own flat. His flatmate, Katie, would message him to check if he actually still lived at School Hill. But together you live pretty carefree lives with no set plans or pressures. You share a passion for food and drink and socialising, and you've enjoyed lots of fun times with friends and family. Buying your dog Ace, which everyone knows you're obsessed with, has definitely developed a tighter bond with you. Buying Ace also resulted in you buying a house because you realised carrying him up and down stairs at the flat for a pee was very annoying, or at least it was for Scott. So I asked, how did the proposal go? Well, Lois did not see the proposal coming because she thought it was more likely she would get dumped after having a day out with the girls. Hungover, makeup on from the night before and feeling sorry for herself on the sofa. But Scott knew that including Ace would in some way seal the deal. If anyone could convince her it was a good idea, it's him. After a number of failed attempts, including interruptions from friends, men fishing and even the police, Scott went upstairs to prepare. He'd bought a small soft toy which resembled a diamond ring for Ace. He got the actual ring ready and he gave Ace the toy, and he ran down the stairs and they played the chasing game they normally play. Lois, still dying on the sofa. Scott then said to Lois, "What's that in Ace's mouth?" She looked confused. She said, "It's a ring." And then Scott went down on one knee. Even with Scott on one knee, she didn't realise what was going on until he went really white and his top lip went tight. Lois said she wanted to be surprised, and this was certainly a surprise. Oh my God, what are you doing? What? Oh my God, what are you doing?" Then she did a weird laugh and a cry thing, and eventually she said yes.
Don't think I did.
I don't think she ever said yes.
Now, the best and most beautiful things in this world, they cannot be seen or even heard, but they must be felt with the heart. So I asked the couple to tell me not only what made them fall in love, but also decide they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. And Scott told me, Lois is very caring, thoughtful and considerate. The way she is with Ace and all her nephews and nieces make me know that she'll be an amazing mum. She's fun and fun-loving. She's always willing to try new things and is up for a laugh. She has her doubts and underestimates herself, but she's a very smart and intelligent woman with a strong head. She excites me and she keeps me on my toes. I never want to let her down, he said, although I do stumble at times. But she also loves to travel and knows how to pick the best places to go. Her satellite navigation skills, unnatural ability to navigate anywhere. She says she has magnets. She's perfect, Scott, I said. I realised that. I wish I'd met her before you, actually. But is there anything about her that just makes you twitch a wee bitty? Well, there is one or two things, he said. She wakes me up early because she wants attention or entertained, but I need and I like my sleep, he said. And she can't decide what she wants to eat. We can't have a similar meal to something that she's had in the past week. And she constantly wants me to rub her feet. She hoovers the house and then she leaves the hoover lying out with a cable in a heap. It's not such an issue now with the cordless hoover though, so we're okay there. And she uses me as some kind of a waiter. But I always do it, he said, I always do it. And I said, Lewis, beg your pardon, Lois.
Okay, I get all my life. Sorry.
Lois, what do you love about Scott? Well, she said, he's romantic, he's handsome, he's a great lover, he sings me love songs and he writes me Why is your bridesmaids and friends? Writes me poetry, he's a wonderful cook, he does the housework and he buys me flowers every week. I'm struggling to read your handwriting, Scott. Will you tell me the rest later on, will you? Seriously, this is what Lois really said. He reminds me of my dad. He can fix pretty much anything, or he thinks he can. He always seeks to find a more efficient way to do things. My friends love him. My friends can be really hally-racket at times, and I think Scott enjoys their ways. And he would do anything for anyone. He always goes out of his way to help friends, especially if it involves a trip in his van. He just loves his van, apparently.
I do like my van.
He's reliable, he's trusting and hard-working, and his attention to detail and patience is marvellous. I'm not the most patient of people, said Lois, and I would rush into things, but he's a very sensible one, and he reins me back in. And he's also very, very good at wrapping presents, so he's handy to have about. He bought me a dog, which then required a house, and the rest is history, as they say. But I also like the silly voices he uses to speak to Ace. It's weird, especially in public, but I do love it. This dog he never wanted.
You want one?
Can we have a demonstration, please?
Little Lissies. Little Lissies. Someone's got some water for you. There you go. Good boys.
What? You will be sick.
He's a great guy for sure, Lois, I said. I wish I'd met him before you, actually. But is there anything... Oh, yes, she said. Wait till I tell you my turn. Where do I begin? Well, for a start, he never listens. I feel like I'm a parrot sometimes when I have to repeat myself. His mother told me the same. He stares at his phone a lot while picking his nose.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Though he assures me he's simply taking the nose hairs out of his nostril, so that's okay. But I don't know if that's better or worse. His mother and I feel like we sometimes live in the Scott Kelman show because he doesn't listen and he continues with his own plans without consulting me. Like band practice, forever band practicing, but fails to tell me his band practice plans. And he's very hairy. So hairy his mum has to wax his back. But she never knows where to stop because he's just so hairy. It's quite like going to watch this. I quite like going to watch this waxing. It's satisfying. It's like therapy, actually, she said.
She should have written the best man speech.
And he nearly never let me get Ace, and then he gave in. And I knew then he was a keeper. Such beautiful sentiments from you both. Your hopes and dreams for the future are simply to be happy, and you want to never lose sight of how lucky you are that you've found each other. You've been with each other for over 6 years now, and now marriage just feels right for you. And Scott, I must say how lucky you are. You'll leave here today with a beautiful wife who's warm, loving and caring. And Lois, how lucky are you? You'll leave here today with a new name, a new dress and a bunch of flowers. I'm now going to invite a friend, Lois Porter, to deliver a reading.
He's Lewis. He's called
He's a
Lewis.
Lewis.
Ah, God.
Is this where it's
He's a Lewis, eh? Did you pick him specially just to confuse me?
Come on, Lois.
She's here. Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care, but you've got the love I need to see me through. Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough and things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then it seems that life is just too much, but you've got the love I need to see me through. When food is gone, you are my daily meal. When friends are gone, I know my Saviour's love is real. Your love is real. Time after time, I think, oh Lord, what's the use? Time after time, I think it's just no good. Because sooner or later in life, the things you love you lose, but you've got the love I need to see me through. Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air, because I know I can count on you. Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care, but you've got the love I need to see me through. You've got the love.
Lois, if you can hand your bouquet back to one of the ladies. Okay. Step forward, Scott, and hold hands. Not with me, with Lois. for holding hands as a promise to one another that, just for a moment, the two of you don't have to face the world alone. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have an old Celtic traditional symbolic gesture called hand fasting. It's a ritual that goes back hundreds of years, formerly serving as an exchange of vows. One hand will be tied and the other free, representing you are entering this marriage willingly and not by force. And this will always symbolise you will respect each other as individuals, although you recognise you're stronger together as a couple. And these are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that will passionately love you and cherish you through the years, and with the slightest touch, comfort you like no other. And these are the hands that will give you strength and support when you need it. So as your hands are joined now, so may your hearts always be. Lois, if you put your hand on, just there, turn it round a wee bit more, keep holding that hand, okay? You
I
take
never
a hold of
signed
it.
up to this.
You didn't know what was coming.
Never touched it.
The first coil represents Lois's love for Scott, and the second coil represents Scott's love for Lois. Hold that there just now. Just wait till I finish. Scott, will you offer Lois your love and respect today and always? Will you miss her madly when you are far and hold her close when you are near? Will you provide for her needs and protect her from harm? Laugh with her, cry with her, reason with her when reason works, and laugh with her when reason doesn't. And will you be her faithful partner in life, her one true love, and her best friend?
Yes.
I will.
Oh, I will.
And Lois, will you offer Scott your love and respect today and always? Will you miss him madly when you are far and hold him close when you are near? Will you provide for his needs and protect him from harm? Laugh with him and cry with him, reason with him when reason works, and laugh with him when reason doesn't. And will you be his faithful partner in life, his one true love, and his best friend?
I will.
Lois and Scott, hold tight to what your words of commitment represent and remember the promises that you have made today. They have far more meaning than just the words themselves. And now as you hold on to the end of the cord that is in your hand, slowly pull your hands apart. Let that one go. And hold on to the end of that cord, and you hold it to that, and slowly, keep going, pull it, and you pull it, Scott, and the knot is tied, and hold it up. And that's where the term tying the knot comes from, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'll take that. Thanks, me. And now we will move on to the most important part of the ceremony, where the couple will exchange their mandatory vows. Can I have the rings, please?
This fits.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah, I never tried it.
Wait for it. The wedding ring is a circle, a symbol of wholeness, strength, cooperation and peace. The circle represents the seasons of life itself, and the circle of these rings represent a symbol of your love and strength for each other. So Scott, will you please take Lois's ring, position it at the end of her finger in her left hand, and as you look at her, repeat after me. I, Scott, vow to love you, Lois,
I, Scott, vow to love you, Lois,
and care for you,
and care for you
as long as we both shall live.
as long as we both shall live.
I promise to encourage and inspire you,
I promise to encourage and inspire you,
to laugh with you and comfort you.
to laugh with you and comfort you.
I take you,
I take you,
with all your faults and all your strengths,
with all your faults and all your strengths,
as I offer myself to you,
as I offer myself to you,
with my faults and my strengths.
with my faults and my strengths.
I promise to cherish you,
I promise to cherish you,
and to always hold you in the highest regard.
and to always hold you in the highest regard.
These things I give to you now and forever.
These things I give to you for now and forever.
I, Scott,
I, Scott,
accept you, Lois,
accept you, Lois,
in marriage,
in marriage
to be my lawfully wedded wife.
to be my lawfully wedded wife.
Does it fit?
Like a glove.
We didn't need to revert to that old Scottish custom of licking the finger, ladies and gentlemen. It went on quite comfortably. And Scott, if you please take Lois's ring, and as you hold it to the finger of her left hand and look at her. That's it. Lois, if you repeat after me. I, Lois, vow to love you, Scott,
I, Lois, vow to love you, Scott,
and care for you,
and care for you
as long as we both shall live.
as long as we both shall live.
I promise to encourage and inspire you,
I promise to encourage and inspire you,
to laugh with you
to laugh with you
and comfort you.
and comfort you.
I take you
I take you
with all your faults and your strengths,
with all your faults and your strength.
as I offer myself to you
As I offer myself to you
with my faults and my
with
strengths.
my faults and my strength.
I promise to cherish you
I promise to cherish you
and to always hold you in the highest regard.
and to always hold you in the highest regard.
These things I give to you now and forever.
These things I give to you now and forever.
I, Lois,
I, Lois,
accept you, Craig, in marriage. I beg your pardon. I, Lois, accept you, Scott, in marriage,
I, Lois, accept you, Scott, in marriage
to be my lawfully wedded husband.
to be my lawfully wedded husband.
And slip the ring on.
Oh,
And hold hands. Lois and Scott, by virtue of the declarations you have made in my presence, and in the presence of both your witnesses and guests, I have much pleasure in declaring you married. You are now husband and wife, and I invite you to share a kiss.
Look amazing.
another one. It's hot.
Okay,
Done.
breathe now. Almost. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now do the official bit and we'll sign the marriage schedule if the couple and their witnesses can join me at the table. During the interlude, you'll be entertained by some beautiful music. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, signed, sealed and delivered, as they say. Now, Lois and Scott, to celebrate and acknowledge your love and marriage, you can now toast each other with a traditional Scottish cup called the quaich, also known as the loving cup or cup of friendship. Drinking from a quaich is part of the ancient tradition of hospitality within the Celtic honour system. Whoever had shared the cup could not do injury to the other, hence the term loving cup. And King James VI of Scotland gifted Anne of Denmark such a cup in honour of their marriage in 1589, and since then many couples have celebrated their nuptials with a drink from the loving cup. Both Lois and Scott will drink from it, and it symbolises their first act of union, their tied bond. And the loving cup, which Scott holds, is symbolic of the pledge that they have made to one another, that their lives, separate until this moment, have become one. Now that's the usual quake that we're using, but you've all heard of Lois's drinking habits, so we're actually going to give her this one today. He set up that one. I'm only kidding, of course. Scott, please raise the quake to your lips and toast your wife. Just half of it. And pass the cup to Lois, and Lois, please raise the cup to your lips and toast your husband. You can finish it. That's not bad, is it? That's very nice. Okay, Lois and Scott, please step forward and hold hands. But before you dash off for your celebrations, and to bring the ceremony to a close, I'd like to end with a verse of well-wishing, to reflect all of our good wishes today. May your home be a place of happiness for all who enter it, a place where the old and the young are renewed in each other's company, a place for growing and a place for sharing, a place for music, a place for laughter, and a place for love. Lois and Scott, now that you are married, go forward in your life together with the warm good wishes of all of us here today. We wish you much happiness, but may life smile upon you and may all of your days together be as joyful as today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to present to you Lois and Scott, who are now officially Mr. and Mrs. Kelman.